Hey everyone, and welcome back to The Explainer. Today, we are unpacking something absolutely fascinating together. We're looking at a source text that outlines 8 core philosophical maxims for human growth. But, instead of just reading them off like a checklist, we're going to visually map them out. We want to see exactly how they interlock to form a foundation that you can actually use in your everyday life. So let's jump right in.
So, what actually defines a principled life? Well, if we look at our source material, we're really exploring an inside-out philosophy. According to the text we're analyzing today, it doesn't start with how much money you make, the title on your business card, or even what city you live in. It starts entirely inside your own mind. It begins with your self-perception, radiates outward into your relationships, and then finally manifests in the forward momentum of your daily actions. It's a very structured progression. All right, let's look at the first phase of this journey. Section 1, master your inner world, self-perception, and control.
Here is a totally crucial point derived directly from the source. People respect you exactly as much as you respect yourself. It's literally a mirror. We so often walk through life hoping to earn respect from our colleagues or our friends based on our achievements, right? But this dynamic is actually flipped completely upside down. The baseline of how others treat you is established by the boundaries and the value you place on yourself. If you constantly diminish your own worth, the outside world is simply going to agree with you. But if you uphold a high standard of self-respect, the world actually adjusts to meet that standard. It really does all start from within. And this brings us to the next layer of our inner world. There is a direct, almost mathematical cause and effect here. Blaming and complaining directly results in giving away your power. Just think about the mechanics of this for a second. When you blame your boss, your partner, or even the traffic for your bad mood or your lack of progress, you are literally crowning them the master of your emotional state. You are handing them the keys to your autonomy. By holding on to those grievances, you're actively choosing to be powerless. But the flip side is, recognizing this gives you the immediate opportunity to take that power right back, simply by focusing on what you actually can control. Now, you might be thinking, okay, but how am I going to take that power back? What are people going to say? Well, the source text gives us a very grounding and, frankly, kind of hilarious reality check. People are not thinking about you as much as you think they are. We all suffer from the spotlight effect. We walk into a room and our ego convinces us that everyone has noticed our slightly mismatched socks or that mildly awkward thing we said 5 minutes ago. But the truth? The truth is that everyone else is the main character in their own movie, worrying about their own mismatched socks. So relieve yourself of this modern anxiety. Freeing yourself from the imagined judgments of the crowd is a massive step in mastering your inner world. Okay, so how does this inner foundation shape our outer world? Let's move to section 2. Navigating relationships and love. Once you've got that solid baseline of self-respect and you've retained your personal power, you step out into the world. And our source material offers this profound one-to-one equation. The quality of your relationships equals the quality of your life. It doesn't say relationships are just a nice little bonus. No, it places them as the central pillar of a well-lived life. You could have absolute mastery over your career, your finances, your hobbies, but if your interpersonal connections are toxic, shallow, or just completely neglected, your overall quality of life is inevitably going to suffer. The text invites us to treat our relationships with the exact same gravity and intentionality that we treat our basic survival, because emotionally speaking, they're essentially one and the same. Now, building those high-quality relationships requires something incredibly difficult. I just want to pause and let this idea from the text breathe for a second. Love occurs in proportion to your willingness to get hurt. Man, that is a heavy hitter. We spend so much of our time building defensive walls, right? We try to play it cool, we hedge our bets, and we protect our hearts at absolutely all costs. But the source text is warning us that the very armor we use to keep the pain out is exactly what blocks the love from getting in. True connection requires vulnerability. It is a strict proportion. Zero willingness to be hurt literally equals zero capacity to experience deep love. To gain the ultimate reward of human connection, you just have to risk the ultimate emotional pain. And because vulnerability is so risky, the source suggests a specific mindset to help navigate the inevitable friction we have with others. Be slow to judge and form an opinion about others because everybody is doing their best. Now I know, the cynic in you might disagree with that right off the bat, but think about it structurally. If you operate on the assumption that the person cutting you off in traffic or sending you a blunt email is maliciously targeting you, your life just becomes a battlefield. But if instead you assume that everybody is wrestling with invisible burdens, battling their own spotlight effects, and genuinely just doing the absolute best they can with the tools they have in that specific moment, your entire worldview shifts from hostility to empathy. Suspending judgment isn't just about being nice, it's a vital protective mechanism for your own peace of mind. Having mapped out the inner and outer worlds, we arrive at the final phase. Section 3, the price of growth, action and momentum. We get a very frank reality check straight from the text here. Nothing meaningful in life is easy. We live in this era of instant gratification, where if a video takes longer than 10 seconds to get to the point, we scroll right past it. But the source text firmly plants a flag in the ground here. Difficulty is a prerequisite for meaning. If you want a principled life, a deep relationship, or true mastery over your own mind, it is going to be hard. And honestly, acknowledging this upfront is incredibly liberating. When things get tough, you don't have to feel like you've made a mistake or that the universe is somehow punishing you. The friction is simply the toll you pay on the road to anything worthwhile. Now, what's really fascinating is how the text frames the mechanics of taking on those hard things. It's an unstoppable momentum loop. Competence breeds confidence, and confidence breeds confidence. It's a continuous cycle. You don't just wake up one day with magical confidence, right? You have to do the hard work first. You build a small amount of competence in a skill or a habit. Then that tangible proof of your ability generates a spark of real confidence. That new confidence then fuels you to take on a slightly harder challenge, which builds greater competence, which in turn breeds even more confidence. It's literally a perpetual motion machine for personal growth, but it always requires you to take that first difficult step of building competence. All right, let's bring all of these distinct ideas into one unified framework. Section 4, building your principled life, bringing it all together. So here we have the complete, actionable takeaways from the aphorisms we've covered in this explainer. And notice how they all build on each other. You start from the inside. You must respect yourself so the world respects you, and you must keep your power by refusing to blame others. Then you step outward. You nurture relationships knowing they define your life's quality, you accept vulnerability to let love in, and you suspend judgment to maintain empathy. And finally, you move forward. You embrace the hard things because that's where the meaning lies, and you consistently build competence to fuel your confidence. This isn't just a list of random quotes. It is a step-by-step architectural blueprint for a resilient, highly intentional life. And that wraps up our analysis. But before you go, I want to leave you with a direct challenge based on everything we've looked at today. Where are you giving your power away today? Who are you blaming? What difficult thing are you avoiding right now because you just aren't willing to step into the vulnerability of trying? Take a hard look at your inner world today. Stop giving away your autonomy and start building that cycle of competence. Thank you so much for joining me on The Explainer, and I will see you next time.